All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation Cash Game Show, Week 3. Same duo here. Myself, Title, will be here every week, all NFL season, same time, talking some cash game plays, head-to-heads, 50-50s, double-ups, three-mans as well. You can play cash teams in three-mans as well. Goal of this show, as we always say, to kind of develop that player pool going into the weekend. And then you kind of narrow it down as more injury news breaks, more information comes available to us. And then all our content for cash games will be available, shipitnation.com. Title handles that, gives you a core on FanDuel, gives you a core on DK, four players for each site, and a little write-up as to why you should be playing these guys in cash games. Not many guys still live in those cash game streets, but our guy Title does for every single sport that he plays. He's in there, posted. So this is information coming from people that are actually putting money behind these cash game plays. Bringing my guy Title. What's going on? Any initial thoughts here going into week 3 main slate?
Yeah, a good amount of injury news. Like Joe Burrow didn't practice today. He seems day-to-day. Eckler kind of just assuming he's out. Aaron Jones was a small participant. A lot of injuries. Richardson just got ruled out before we got on the show. So it's Gardner Minshew time. It's an interesting slate for sure. But, yeah, I wish I wasn't in the FanDuel streets in week 2 in the cash games. I got thumped over there, but DK made it up. And smashed DK, thumped on FanDuel. That's how she goes sometimes. I'll take pretty much a break even any day of the week.
Long-term game. You make the right plays over time, you'll get paid off. Find some, fish in those cash game streets, and it all works out in the long run. If you didn't know, week 3 started out with a bang last night for myself.
There, right here.
Yeah, and a lot of members. Not gonna, sit here and stroke myself, but it was spot on analysis yesterday. If you were a member at SHIPIT Nation, if you digested my content, you would have made money. The top 4 captains were essentially not only, the top captain play, who is Debo, but it had the next 3 guys right along with it. The 49ers onslaught got the job done. We talked about it on the show. I didn't shy away from it. And even, it was crazy going through. Everyone just assumed that Ronnie Bell was going to be this massive chalk piece. 9%, only 9%.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was shocked. I really thought he would get into the 20s at least, but it just goes to show these uncertain injury situations where it wasn't fully announced that Bell was going to be in there. And the first drive, he didn't even get in. So it looked like it could have been McLeod, but that second drive, they got him in. You could tell they wanted to get him involved, caught the touchdown. But, man, that's something to take note of moving forward. Only 9% for Ronnie Bell. And, every projection site had him, including ours, had him way up there, 5, 6, 7 points. It just makes you wonder, are people just building teams really early in the day or what's going on? But that was very interesting last night for Showdown. But very successful for myself. We shipped the DK main GPP, and then on FanDuel, basically first place in every single contest over there. It was massive. But it wasn't only me. Our members came along for the ride as well. Tons of big-time screenshots in the Discord and posted on Twitter. So congratulations to all the winners. And, going into the main slate, we're going to, look to build that momentum, not only cash games, GPPs, everything. If you are not a member over at shipitnation.com, we launched something new last week. It's called a 5-day mission. So you can sample out our product over at shipitnation.com for only $19. Gets you access to not only NFL, all the other sports. MLB still going. PGA is off this week, but MMA, we were talking pre-show, 11 fights, but, Title informed me that it's looking like a strong card. They'll have all that content finalized most likely tonight, tomorrow morning. A lot of it is already available on the site. And prize pools remain pretty consistent through MMA, and then we'll have NBA coming up in NHL. So if you do this 5-day trial, you'll get access to all our NFL content through Monday Night Football, MLB, and MMA. It's only $19, so you get a chance to sample out the product for $19. We understand that, a full month commitment is not for everyone. So we want to give our people an opportunity to try it for a cheap price and see if they like it. And, the one thing that we always talk about here at SHIPITNation.com, we're going to always be looking to improve and add on to our product. And that's what we've done so far. And we're going to continue to do so moving forward. We want an all-encompassing DFS product for our people at the cheapest rate in the industry. We have the cheapest rate in the industry, and our product continues to improve on a daily, weekly basis. So get on over SHIPITNation.com. Check us out. We appreciate the support. Hit the like and subscribe on this video. That also helps us out a ton. All right, we got the marketing out of the way. Now it's time to talk some football. In terms of cash games this week, there's one game that obviously stands out on the slate in general. You have the Vikings, you have the Chargers. Total in that game, it's like right around 55, somewhere in that range. Two really bad defenses, two offenses that are willing to sling it. Talk to me first about that game, and then, how it correlates to cash games and anything else, in general terms, and we'll kind of go on position by position.
Yeah, well, first I just want to say, congrats to you on the huge night that Debo touched on at the end. It hurt me a lot, so I was glad to see it helped you and a lot of members. Tons of screenshots in there. And yeah, that Ronnie Bell thing, man, like I would have had so much, like he was in the cash core for me on Showdown, like the 10-60, 14-man, 50-50, of course, very small field in that, but it's the sharpest players out there. He was like 86%. I think one or two guys faded in that. So I could not believe to see 9%, 14% single entry. Yeah, this stuff's wild, man. Maybe people are building early in the slate or something. We talked about on the show, like Ronnie Bell was the replacement for Ayuk last week, so he did run. He did get a little lucky.
He did for sure. Yeah, he definitely did. He got the red zone target, and then he got like the deflected
bounce.
Yeah. That was pretty wild. Usually those balls go for interceptions. It kind of fell right into his hands, and that was fine. But it was a slate that you needed value as well, though. I mean, because McCaffrey is so expensive at the $13,200. If you played him the captain, almost $20,000. So like you needed the value. It was kind of a head scratcher, definitely a head scratcher. And I didn't realize it till after the slate that he's only like 9%. I don't really pay close attention after the slate locks to ownership and all that, but I saw someone post on Twitter. I was like, man, that one stood out for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, talking week 3, talking this. First of all, I love this comment, Deacon. Awesome stuff, man. At 100%. Unfortunately, 100% is not sustainable. Losing weeks are come, but as always, bankroll management, great start to the year. Been profitable in cash games for years now, so love that. As far as this slate, the one game that sticks out for sure, Minnesota, the Chargers. They're in Minnesota too, in a dome, 54 total, 1-point spread. Both defenses are attackable. Like it's the nut game by a mile. The next biggest total is 48 for Denver and Miami. So 6 points right there is that Vikings Chargers game. Definitely stands out. You definitely want some pieces to it, but as always, like Jefferson's expensive, Herbert's expensive, Keenan's expensive. Like there is expensive pieces in it. So it's not like you can just fully jam that game and then be good with it or then move on. But it's definitely, you want some pieces here and there. We'll go position by position like always.
Yeah, the pieces you want are relatively expensive besides at the quarterback position. So we'll just go ahead and use that as a segue right into quarterbacks on DraftKings. Kirk Cousins has been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in general this season. I mean, we knew they were going to be a passing offense. We didn't know to what level. And, they're just going to sling it. Their defense appears to not be all that good in a dome. Cousins on DK is $6,900. Under 7K, and again, he's been the best fantasy quarterback so far through 2 weeks. Justin Herbert a little more expensive at 75. That game, like I said, it's 7 points higher than a full touchdown higher than any other game on the slate. Both offenses have been unable to move the ball on the ground. They've kind of just had to go to this passing heavy approach. I think both are in the conversation for cash games. Geno Smith stands out as well, $5,700. I mean, that's very, very cheap on DraftKings, under 6K, offers a little bit of rushing upside there. I don't know. For me, I just the position players, the skilled position players in that game, relatively expensive. Like Justin Jefferson is way up there. Keenan Allen starting to get up there due to how well he's played. I think I want my quarterback coming from that game 69 for Cousins, 75 for Herbert, Geno Smith 5.7. Again, you can always make the case for Josh Allen if you want to get up there. But for me, I think I want to be in that game, one of those two quarterbacks, Cousins, Herbert. And then if you need more, Geno would be my guy at 57. What do you see in QB and DK?
Yeah, definitely in lockstep with you. Like, I think Mahomes didn't play. Like, I'm not getting into Josh Allen. If I do spend all the way up, it would be Mahomes. They also have a 48 total, so tied with the Miami game, 8.3K. But yeah, I'm really not sure. I mean, there is enough value. Maybe more value opens up if we get injuries and stuff. Mahomes, if I'm spending all the way up. But yeah, the Herbert Cousins right in that game, the highest total. Like right now, my lean is I just say probably the 600 with Cousins. But again, if value and stuff opens up, sign me up for Herbert, any of those guys. And if I'm going down, I'm only going to say 4 quarterbacks. You mentioned it. Geno Smith at 5.7K. It's just if like more value, I guess, doesn't open up, or you want to play Jefferson, you want to play Keenan, you want to spend up elsewhere, 5.7 is way too cheap for Geno. You get 1,200 savings from Kirk, like 1,800 for Herbert, whatever that. I didn't do the math quick, but you just get a huge discount. Like who else is in that range? Sam Howell 5.4, CJ Stroud 5.3, Jordan Love 5.6. Like Geno definitely is underpriced, but do we need it? I don't know. I'd feel much more comfortable if I had the Kirk, the Herbert, the Mahomes of the world. But at the end of the day, if I'm starving for value and that 1,200 gets me huge upgrades, I'd be fine with Geno. But yeah, really only 4 quarterbacks, and I prefer right now that Chargers Minnesota game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's a good way to get exposure at a reasonable price tag. Like, again, I think, especially at wide receiver, if you want the number 1 wide receiver for the Vikings, obviously Jefferson, you're paying a big boy price tag. If you want the number 1 for the Chargers, Keenan Allen, who's been phenomenal, his price is starting to come up there too. This is just a very reasonable way to get exposure to the highest total on the slate in 2 offenses. It just makes sense. Over on FanDuel, it's going to be a lot of the same, and I think even more clear cut, I'd say, because the price tags are even cheaper in my eyes there. Cousins at 7,800, and then Herbert at 84. There's just not as much of a difference when you go down a little lower. Geno at 72. Like I would probably – it would have – I want to find the $600 to get from Geno to Cousins, where on FanDuel or on DraftKings where it's $1,200, like – I think you can make the case a little bit more over there to take that 1,200 and find an upgrade. On FanDuel, I'm finding 6 and getting myself to Cousins. So again, for me on FanDuel, it's even more clear, and it's most likely just Cousins, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll add another name, Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's only 400.
Gosh, man, I don't know. Yeah, I saw that price tag, and it definitely does stand out. But he just seems early, especially early on in the season, content letting his running backs do the work.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Justice Hill's now not playing this week, so now their backup is out. Like, yeah, they do have Gus Edwards, but they're running pretty thin at the running back position, so I'm expecting a couple more dropbacks, maybe use his legs a little more. Yeah, people do have – I mean, it's a 2-week sample. Like, I'm trying not to overreact still to stuff. He definitely has not been there, but, I mean, coming into the year, I thought Lamar was a possible MVP candidate. They have Tom Monken. They got the new OC. They were going to play faster. They were going to throw more. So the price is interesting at 8.2. But yeah, I mean, right now I prefer Cousins at 7.8, the 400 savings. But the difference between DK and FanDuel, like Geno is in play on DK if you need the savings. I wouldn't go below 7.8K in Cousins, but that Lamar price tag at 8.2, I'd be lying if I wasn't considering right now for sure. And then Mahomes, if all the value opens up, like Mahomes is my QB1 this week, no doubt about it. So like if you have the money, sure. But at the end of the day, like the Cousins, the Herbert, I don't love Herbert as much on FanDuel. Like I said, I prefer the Cousins side. But yeah, I mean, it's Lamar, it's Cousins. Right now, I'm preferring the Cousins route though.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good talk there. Quarterback position.
Wait, Lamar got hurt? Are you talking about Justin? Are you talking about Lamar? If so, I didn't see if Lamar got hurt yesterday.
I didn't see anything on that either. So, yeah.
Let us know who you're referring. I mean, we have Showdown, you have MMA, MLB. There's a million things going on.
Yeah.
I definitely could have missed a Lamar thigh injury, and that's would definitely remove him from conversation. Ford. Okay, you were talking about because what Zim said about Ford bad chalk. Well, I hope so because Kareem Hunt's suiting up this week. I still did not hear that though. So.
I see that. Yeah. Kareem Hunt's gonna play.
Ford wasn't on the injury report. All right.
So no, I think he's fine.
Go.
I'm not worried about Ford. I mean, the reason you worry about Ford, which we'll talk about here at the running back position, is because Kareem Hunt's going to play, and we don't know to what degree. And then the Titans' run defense has actually been pretty darn good. And there's like a million running backs, which we're going to get into here. Like, this is the one position that I think is just wide open this week as it stands. And we could get more clarity with some injury news, but man, it's like a wide open position for sure. Like on DraftKings, there's only one essential spend, and it's Tony Pollard, who I think is a fine play if you have the money. They're like 2 touchdown favorites against the Cardinals. He ran pretty bad last week. Like, I expect him to easily get 100 yards and a touchdown, but there's like 10 other guys that are like similar type values, I think, on the slate. If Eckler's out, I'm fine going back to Kelly. I mean, he sucked last week, but it gets you exposure to that high total game. If Aaron Jones is out, fine going right to A.J. Dillon, 5,700, ETN, 6,900 in a game where the Jaguars are favored by 9, 10 fantasy points. Mostert, 6K flat. Gibbs has to get a bigger role with Montgomery out. Madison has been asked so far this season, but he's 5,800, gets you exposure to that game. And then Ford, like we talked about, 4,800. To me, this is just a wide open position, especially on DraftKings. I don't like doing this at running back, but it might be a spot where I come back to and see what I have left and what I can fit in. It's wide open to me, seeing it any differently.
Yeah, so I know David Montgomery at first, like they thought the injury was worse than it was, but it doesn't sound like he's going to play this week though. So Gibbs, he has to get more work, but I agree with you. Like there's so many running backs. I mean, yeah, you start up top. If I'm spending up, it's Tony Pollard for sure. The great matchup against Arizona, big favorites. The dude's a stud. Like, yeah, sign me up for Pollard. But you go down a little bit. Yeah, Gibbs at 6'6", no Montgomery. I mean, they got to unleash the man, right? And if he does get 20 touches, like the dude's a stud. Like, get him the ball and he's going to do work. So he's definitely in play. ETN, like you mentioned, he's looked good this year. Yeah, Tank Bigsby is back there, but ETN's still the lead guy. Favorites, should be running the ball a lot. Houston's not good. Yeah, I love him there. Miles Sanders, he has a good price tag, 5'7". He's caught a lot of balls out of the backfield. Now there's not Bryce Young, so Andy Dalton's in for him. To be honest, at this point of their career, or Bryce Young's career, I should say, I might even view this as an upgrade. Man, did Bryce Young in that offense look bad. He couldn't push the ball downfield. Just wasn't really a threat at all.
Vegas agrees with you too, because the number went in the direction of the Panthers.
Carolina. Wow.
Yeah, the Seahawks were -6.5. It moved a point in favor of Carolina. It's now 5.5 for the Seahawks. So yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. When you're the starting quarterback, you get ruled out, and the line moves in your favor.
Yeah, good. I did not know that. It's a good point there, and it makes me feel a little better that the Vegas books do agree that Dalton's probably an upgrade right now. So yeah, Sanders. The thing is, it's an upgrade for the offense, but is it a downgrade for Sanders? Because does he push the ball down the field more? And does he not go to the check downs as much? So maybe people giving him whatever projection sites are giving him too many targets or too much of a target share because this is going to be different and Andy Dalton's actually going to throw it out wide. So yeah, it's interesting there. Still do like Sanders for the price. Mostert, definitely agree. Like he's the guy right now at Chain. It's hardly playing. Jeff Wilson's still on the IR, so 6K is a good price tag. Zach Moss, got to talk about Zach Moss, 5.5K. He came back and he was the guy. Evan Hall went to the IR. He's out for the year. Deion Jackson's still there, but it was Zach Moss stepping in right away, and he was the guy. Someone on this show last week asked, can you play Zach Moss in cash? We all said no. I think he was still 1% owned or whatever. No one played him. And I stand by that. I don't think you could have played him. But, man, if you did, it definitely worked out. So he's in play. People are asking, Tito, can you touch on like the Saints? Yeah, Saints backfield, Keandre Miller, Tony Jones. Someone else asking about Kendrick Miller as well. Like, I just don't. I don't want to mess with this Saints backfield right now. I have no clue. Like Tony Jones, I don't really think he's too good. He fell in the box with Jamal getting hurt. I just think they're going to mix and match the running backs, kind of like what I thought about Zach Moss and Deion Jackson last week. And we have Gibbs, we have Mostert, we have Zach Moss, Miles Sanders. Like we have enough cheap guys that you know that what you're going to get from them. You know what touches you're going to get. I don't think messing with the Saints backfield in cash makes much sense. So, Yeah, like Josh Kelly. Eckler's out. I'm good going back to Kelly. People talking how they burned him or whatever. He was so chalky in cash. Like, yeah, the lower stakes. If he was 65%, it definitely hurt. Higher stakes, a lot higher, but definitely good going right back to him in the best game environment too. If Aaron Jones misses, man, we mentioned it. Dylan is dusty, but I don't even know if actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know if they're playing on they are on the slate against the Saints. I still probably don't even get to Dylan, man. There's enough other guys.
He just can't move. But it's like, you know what happens. Like, he's going to fall into one of these games where they just keep getting the ball in the one and he just pounds it. He's going to be good there. But it's like, he's just not a modern day NFL running back. Like, his body. Put
your head down, get 4.5 yards, and let's keep it going.
That is not it anymore. So it's like, it's tough. But again, like, he definitely has multiple touchdown upside. There's like so many guys, and that's where the Saints guys just maybe different slates, different situation. Maybe, down the road, when there's a bunch of teams on bye and we just don't have the value. There's like 10 better value.
Jerome Ford too. Like, I didn't even mention Jerome Ford. Everyone keeps saying fade. Like, I'd be lying if he wasn't in play though. Like, I'm glad you guys kept talking about it. Mention him. He's 4.8K. I mean, he's also another guy down there. Like,
he's a tier cheaper than these other guys. I mean, he's even cheaper. So if you need the extra money to get up to maybe like a Justin Jefferson or something like that, it makes a lot of sense. FanDuel, man, just pulling it up, they did a really bad job pricing this week. The quarterbacks are way too cheap, and these running backs, they're all 6K essentially. It's all the guys we talked about, Kelly, Dylan, Madison. You can throw, even Pacheco. They're 2 touchdown favorites. He's $5,700. $5,700. That is so cheap. Jerome Ford's 56 over there. The only person really that they priced up is Tony Pollard at 9,400. ETN's at 8K. It's the same dudes. I mean, you gotta pick your poison. Essentially, there's so many of them, and man, there's just a lot of options. And this is the toughest position. This is where I'll probably, like I said, come back here last, which is rare. I think at the running back position, it's kind of where we're building. Kind of building first, but on this slate, I could definitely see myself coming back and seeing what I have and just plugging in 2 of these guys because they all seem very similar.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, Jerome Ford, yes, Kareem Hunt is playing week 3, but Stefanski came out again and reassured everyone, like, Ford is our guy. He is our main back, so I trust him. I think he gets a good amount of touches. Was good in Chubb's when Chubb did get hurt last game, so yeah, I guess the only 2 that really the difference is, Pacheco's price 5.7 definitely stands out. They're favorites. If you get up, they could pound the ball. It's still by no means safe. Like, they got McKinnon back there, they got Clyde. Mahomes can always air it out. So by no means safe, but starting running back at 5.7 for the Chiefs looks pretty good. Alexander Madison, probably the last week we will ever say his name unless we get an injury. 6.3K, but Cam Akers sounds like he will not suit up this week. And they just brought him over. So what does that mean? Like, how does Madison not handle 100% of the snaps? Like, obviously they don't trust really Ty Chandler. Madison does not look good at all, but Cam Akers is waiting in the wing next week. Why not pound this guy, Madison, and give him all the work? So, yeah, I think that's a good 6.3K, the best game environment. I think that's a solid price as well. Ramondre Stevenson is the other guy, better price on FanDuel than DK. Small favorites. What a gross 36.5 total against the Jets. But I don't know, man. He's cheap. I mean, you're looking at he's 6.5K. Again, we've been mentioning best ball and stuff like that, but he was going like 28 ADP, 33 ADP. Like, if you trying to correlate prices, that's a 7.5K running back. You're getting at 6.3 as a small favorite in a gross game. So can catch some passes out of the backfield as well. So I think he's a better play on FanDuel than DK at the price too.
Yeah, terrible pricing just overall, man. This is really bad. Like, you should not have like 10 viable 6K guys as running backs. That just should not be the case. Just terrible.
Maybe it's better for tournaments, concentrated ownership, and where it pivots.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I do agree with that. Again, do us that favor, hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate it. We'll be here every Friday afternoon at this time slot. Myself, Title, talking cash game. So please hit the like and subscribe. DraftKings wide receiver position, a lot more clear, I think, for me personally, like what I want to do here. I want, at least one wide receiver from that Vikings and Chargers game. And there's a lot of different options. Justin Jefferson, 9,300. Keenan Allen, 76. Mike Williams, 6K. The 6K stands out as being very, very cheap. in a potential shootout game. One, maybe two of those guys. And then after that, like, where else do you go? That probably prices out Tyreek Hill for me, to be honest. Like at 9K, I'd find a way to get to Jefferson for sure. Some other options that I'm potentially looking at, it does dry up relatively quick. I don't mind going back to Jaden Reed if Watson's out. He's 3,800. They really got him more involved last week. Would, again, get a boost if Aaron Jones does indeed miss. Adam Thielen, it's gross. It's ugly, 3,900, but he looked pretty good last week. And I think as a full punt, better DraftKings type play, because I think he can definitely rack up some volume. Josh Reynolds, I mean, he's their number 2 there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a little bit dinged up. He got the job done last week. We talked about it on the show. We felt that he was the best cheap option on the slate. He got the job done. Michael Thomas, I like at 5,300. I mean, he's not going to be like a priority type play, but like if I'm in that range, I don't mind him at all. The targets have been there, 9 and 8 targets, and he's looked good. Like, I'm fine going to Michael Thomas at 5,300. Calvin Ridley still there at 72. I'm fine with him. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I don't think I need as many options at wide receiver because I know which game I'm going to first. I'm going to try to get 1 to 2 of those guys and then see what else fits. But yeah, those are a few of the names for me. What do you see in DK wide receiver?
Yeah, very similar. And I agree with you. Like, I want at least one guy or pass catcher in that game. I mean, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson. Now also add in KJ Osborne because he has a solid price tag at 4K and he still is out snapping Jordan Addison. So give me a guy at 4K that's going to run almost all the routes in a 54 total game in a dome. Like, yeah, I'm good with KJ Osborne too. So one of those 4 in cash. So I'll go to the Panthers side. You mentioned Thielen, and we just talked about it. We think this is an upgrade for the wideouts with Dalton. So I like Thielen, and he got it done with Bryce Young as well. So solid price tag on him. I'm good going there at 3.9K in that range as well. Tank Dell, 3.6K. Nico Collins for the Houston. I think both Collins and Tank Dell. I think Jacksonville puts up points. Should be a good game script. Should be chucking the ball a lot. Dell and Nico Collins then play 5-3, 3-6. Then we got the Indy side. Again, without Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew now, I think this is an upgrade for the passing game because Richardson likes using his legs. He can scramble. They'll run the ball more, read option. He's another running back at the goal line. So I'm giving actually a bump to Pittman and Josh Downs. 3.5K for Downs. He was highly touted as the farther camp went on and in the preseason and stuff. He was touted highly. And if you want Jefferson, you want Pollard, you want Mahomes, whatever it may be, like, you can get away with cheap guys like that. So I'm good with him. And I said Pittman at 6.2K, definitely good with that price tag. Yeah, Tyreek, I'm with you. Like, I'm just going to find the 300 for Jefferson, and I don't think that playing both of them is optimal this week in cash. So great tournament play. Agree with you on Josh Reynolds. Drake London, what about the other side of that game, man? Finally.
I'm just done. You knew it was happening. Yeah, you knew it was happening. He tuned into the show, heard us talking shit, got the job done. I'm just out. I don't care. If he scores 8 touchdowns this week, I still won't play him next week.
Yeah, probably not a DK cash. I don't know. But, yeah, funny. Michael Thomas, I agree with you, though. Should play in the slot. Avoid Jair Alexander. That's probably where Olave will go. Otherwise, he'll just stay on one side. But, yeah, I mean, he's just been peppered. Man, the car's just staring at him.
17 targets. 17 through 2 weeks. I mean, that's big boy numbers. I mean, that's better than a $5,300 wide receiver. So, I mean, I'm in.
Last one, the Reed one you said. Reed, if Watson's out.
Yep. And then Pittman, I agree with you that I was going to make that point after you're done talking. Like, definitely an upgrade for the Colts passing game. I mean, it's still the Colts passing game, but Pittman is a good player. I mean, he's a very good player. And if he has more of like a pocket passer, I think he can definitely get the job done in a trailing game script, most likely. So in on Pittman. On FanDuel, the price is good on him too, 67. But again, the pricing on FanDuel, they just randomly priced up like a couple guys and then just left everyone dirt cheap. I mean, for some reason, Keenan Allen's like 8,800, like out of nowhere. And then they did get Jefferson and Tyreek up there, 97 for Jefferson, 96 for Tyreek Hill. And then everyone else, you can just be cheap. And that is the case. Mike Williams, 7,200. cheap. Calvin Ridley, 75, cheap. The Pittman, 67. I'm good with him. A price point play, I think, on FanDuel specifically, who I do think this guy does play. He's injured, but Amari Cooper at 6,200, like he's clearly their number one. He looked good last week in that primetime game. 62 is very cheap for him. Michael Thomas, 5,800, under 6K for a guy that just got 9 targets and 8 targets, averaging 8.5 targets per game, 5,800. Like, he's a play for me for sure. KJ Osborne, 56, if you want to go even cheaper. I just don't think, like, my pool of potential FanDuel cash wide receiver is very limited, and I'm going to play 3 of the guys I just rattled off most likely.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple names, like same sentiment with Jefferson and you got me. Yeah, same sentiment with Jefferson and Hill. To get the $100, I would go Jefferson. You mentioned Mike Williams, so Pittman I like as well. Amon-Ra, 7.9K. I think that's a fine price tag. It sounds like he is trending in the right direction, and 9.7 is a ton for Jefferson. So, like, if you can't get there, you don't feel comfortable with ever, it's almost 2K savings for Amon-Ra in a dome as well. So I think that's a good price tag. Ridley at 7.5, very good price tag. And Michael Thomas, 5.8K. Like, come on now. Jerry Jeudy, 6'1", Amari Cooper, 6'2". So you mentioned, yeah, I think the guys you mentioned and the couple other ones I just named, Michael Thomas too cheap, Jeudy too cheap, Ridley too cheap, Amon-Ra still too cheap, Pittman, and then grab a guy, Jefferson, Mike Williams. Keenan's too expensive, but yeah, I think it's more concentrated on FanDuel as well.
Yep, man, just overall bad pricing like we talked about on FanDuel. Tight end position, the price on Kelsey, I think, is a little more affordable, 7,200 on DraftKings. We could potentially have a lot of value, but man, it's just so tempting to go way, way down. And viable options again this week. Zach Ertz is just getting a ton of targets, and I get it, Zach Ertz, and he's probably dusty and all that, but man, give me a tight end similar, target share to what we just talked about with Michael Thomas. He has 10 targets and 8 targets, 6 catches in both of the first 2 games, 8 fantasy points, 11 fantasy points. He's 3.5K. Laporta at 4K looks to be solid. Good connection with Goff. Luke Musgrave, 3.3. Our guy Chig, 3.2. If going cheap, those are the guys. If for some reason you're building a cash team and you're able to get up to Kelsey, which I think is feasible this week. He's only 72, but most likely it's going to be cheap tight end. Ertz, Laporta, Musgrave, Chig. Those are the guys I'm kind of looking at. What do you got, DK tight end?
Yeah, very similar, but like the last 2 weeks, we didn't even mention expensive tight ends. Like if you played them, we thought you were never burning money, but you're just suboptimal right away, spending up. That's not the case. I think Kelsey is firmly in play this week. We're talking about all this value at running back, receiver. Like there's enough value where Kelsey is in play. Now, if you are spending up, it is Kelsey. Like I wouldn't go Mark Andrews, even with that 1,200 discount at 6K. Just give me the Kelsey and the safety there. Someone mentioned about Zay Flowers in cash, and I said I don't love Zay with Andrews there. Bateman's there, like same sentiment for Andrews with Zay, with Bateman. OBJ is out. You get a little bump, but there's just enough mouths where I don't know. I feel way better with Kelsey. If you're not going Kelsey, though, like you said, you're going down like most people do at tight end. Zach Ertz, man, 2023, we're still mentioning the name, but Dobbs is just staring at him. Dobbs is literally just staring at him. He's a security blanket. He knows where he's going to be. Catch the football, move the sticks. Yeah, 3.5K. Ertz is definitely in play. Kylan Granson's been solid at 3.1K. Tambo mentioned him week 1 on the show at like 0.05%. But again, a tight end that now for the Colts gets a bump in the passing game, you think, with Minshew. So he's very cheap. I think he's fine. Another gross name, man. It's crazy I'm saying these names. Durham Smythe, 2.9K. That's as cheap as I'd go. But Mike McDaniel's using him. Smythe's a good blocker, so he's out there almost every snap. 7 targets week 1, 3 week 2. Can get to the flat. I mean, he can catch some passes. You don't need much at 2.9. Like I'd rather have Zach Ertz for 600 more. I'd rather Chig for 300 more. Luke Musgrave right there. I like him at 3.3, especially if one of Jones or Watson or something out as well. I'm good going back to him. But at the end of the day, if that 400 or 300 goes that long for Smythe, sure, I'll upgrade to Jefferson or upgrade to this. And Musgrave down to Smythe in that 400, and I'm fine with that. So
and one
all the
more
way up to Kelsey, all the way down.
Yeah. One more cheapie. Logan Thomas was ruled out right before the show. Cole Turner is 2,700, so even cheaper than our.
So maybe throw Smythe out, and Cole Turner is definitely he's way more athletic. He's way that, so I didn't see the Logan Thomas.
You get way down there, like you can still survive cash games with a goose egg from a $2,700 or $2,900 tight end. Like if they do something, you're kind of free rolling the rest of the game. So definitely don't be afraid to go all the way down there by any means.
And we got so we got some news on when we've been on the show. So Akers inactive like we thought. Madison's the lead back. Watson, Aaron Jones questionable. OBJ, Hill out. Amon-Ra's going to play. So I guess you knew all that stuff. So
so I mean, Madison definitely his role is stable. I mean, he's sucked obviously so far this season because the Vikings haven't been great and they've just been passing a ton. But definitely solidifies his role, which we thought was going to be the case. Like I don't think anyone thought that Akers was going to play. But in terms of tight end, I think paying up at tight end is in play this week for I'd say the first time all season in cash games. And I'd probably argue even more so on FanDuel because of how cheap all those wide running backs are and the cheap wide receivers. And Kelsey's sitting at $8K, which it seems like a big price tag, but man, like if he goes out and gets 70 and 2 touchdowns, he's going to dust the field. Interested for sure, 8K, and then it's the same cheapies for the most part. Ertz is only 5.1, Laporte is 5.2. So FanDuel again, they've just like priced up like 4 or 5 guys, and then everyone else is just dirt cheap. 49 for Musgrave, 51 for Ertz, Laporte 5.2. Who else have we talked about? Chig is 4,800. Granson 4,800. I'm sure Cole Turner, I don't have him on here, but I'm sure he's like 45. What is it? 4.6? Yeah, 4.6 for him. So I mean it's Kelsey or just like pick one of those guys that are all similar. For me personally, it'd probably just be Ertz. I'll side with the guy that's getting 9 targets a game, and they will be playing from behind this weekend. Like I'm fine just going to him at the 5.1. I don't know, pretty similar to DK at that tight end.
Yeah, I think it's all the way up to Kelsey. It's one of like the Ertz. Dalton Schultz is 4.8. Laporte is 5.2. Musgrave if one of Watson or Jones, Chig, like right in that 4.8 to 5.2 range, or Cole Turner all the way down at 4.6K too. But easier to spend up on FanDuel as usual at tight end than DK. It's easier to get Kelsey on FanDuel. So that's my lean right now. But this Cole Turner, like I said, I didn't even know Logan Thomas was ruled out.
Yeah, it was right before we hopped on, like he's ruled out. So, I mean, I'd say more on DK. I mean, on FanDuel, you can get, for $500 more Ertz or, Laporta or something like that. So that's all the positions. And then, defense, we typically don't talk defense. For me personally, I'm not seeing anything that stands out at the defense position. It's pretty wide open in terms of cash games. Let me pull up FanDuel. I really didn't look at FanDuel Ds. No, I mean, it's a wide open position. I think nothing, that we're going to need. Are you seeing anything or any thoughts defense?
Not really. Like people are going to be seeing like you see Richardson go out, so it's Minshew. You see Bryce Young go out, so it's Dalton. Backup quarterbacks. But like we've talked on this show, we view and Vegas and books view Dalton as more of an upgrade than Young. So it's not like you're going to attack that right away. Minshew's been around for a long time, and I'd rather play defense against Anthony Richardson, more tournaments I'm talking, than I would Gardner Minshew because there's more opportunities for mistakes and stuff like that with his legs and decision making. So it's not the normal. You see a backup court. You see Josh Dobbs week 1 against the Commanders, and it's like, load it up. I mean, spill it out last.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of gets us through all the positions, all the talking points for cash games. Like I said, we will have all our content, not only for cash games, starting to get posted. You're already seeing some of the stuff pop up on our site. That's one thing we pride ourselves on here at SHIPIT Nation is early content, early accurate content with understanding that there will be changes. We'll highlight those changes, notify everyone in Discord. If you are not a member, we have this promo going. $19 gets you access to everything on the website for 5 days. So it's a 5-day mission. You can try it out. Gets you everything except Discord, which kind of probably want the Discord because, man, it's a really good environment, a lot of good conversations, a lot of helpful people outside of our team. So it's a good spot to be. But if you want to give it a shot, $19 gets you access to all our content, not just NFL. So yeah, that will do it here for the show. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Cash Show at SHIPIT Nation. Good luck to everyone. Tune in Sunday morning. New place for the Sunday morning show. It's going to be on the Mayo Media Network. So not here on the SHIPIT Nation channel. It's going to be over on the Mayo Media Network, which we're excited about, a partnership with Mayo and his network. So we'll be over there Sunday morning, same time, 9:45. Good luck to everyone this week. We'll be back. Let's ship it.